In about 3 seconds. Oh, we are live. Hello. Welcome, everybody.
Yep. We are live at that. So,
what's up, guys?
Yeah. Should we get the podcast started with Mr.
Let's get it started. James Scott Campbell.
Hello. You are at the net. And welcome, friends, to another episode of the At the Net podcast, powered by Tex-Mex Productions. Working the soundboards in the back of the house are our producers, D-Mac and Dave the Brain. Time to say hello to your hosts, Craig Bell and AJ Shabria, as they're about to take us through 3 sets of tennis, talking life and all the news as it seems to them. Ladies and gentlemen, Craig Bell.
Okay, all right. Thanks to our At the Net podcast girl, Margot Carter, for that tasty.
Word of the day is tasty. Thank you, CB. Well
like
done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a new word.
How do you not love that?
You didn't think I was going there with tasty because we got a pickleball guest.
Yeah.
Tasty pickle.
Taste pickle. It's a big deal. It's
a big deal.
This word of the day concept. Yes.
Welcome, fans of the great game. You are listening to season 1, episode 102. 102er. Is that right? 102. Yeah, you usually say yes. So you're just you're meditating at the moment, aren't
Definitely.
you?
Definitely. 102, man. I mean, we did our 100 2 weeks ago, and here we are.
Yep. At the Net podcast, that would be with your AJC, right?
And you, Craig Bell, CB1 as we call him.
Yes, and we are talking the great game of pickleball tonight as
it seems to us.
Thanks also go out to our good amigos at Tex-Mex Productions. That would be one Darian D-Mac McBrayer. And Dave the Brain, we did have a brain sighting just a little while ago. He was here helping me out. Actually, I think he sent me a text here real quick, so I have to look and see what's going on. But we helped us get on from back of the house. But I'm running the soundboards to make us look real, right?
We are real. You are producing. Yep. You are co-hosting. We're going to have a great time with this remarkable guest, the Golden Boy, Scott Golden.
Also, be sure to check like and check out our work. I was going to say check out our work, like, follow, all that kind of stuff on Facebook. We're getting ready to get the Facebook page back up and rolling, YouTube, Instagram. Plus, check out our good work on, here we go, Fireside, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Breaker, CastBox, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and Spotify. Basically, that's all the important places where the kids find popular with their podcasts, right?
That's correct.
And if you are a female and like to read the tasty introduction like Margot Carter, the great Margot Carter, just let us know. Hit us up on our digits. Just hit us up, message, whatever, right?
Yeah. You can DM us. You can email us. Send us a demo tape. We'll evaluate it.
We'll evaluate.
We may say yes.
Yeah. Margot's pretty darn good. So we've had her for a long time.
Right.
She's been pretty awesome. She has that British accent. Pretty tasty, because that is a word over in England also.
It is, yeah.
Well, speaking of tasty, this is the Golden Boy of Pickleball. That would be one Scott Golden.
Scott Golden.
Right. He's golden. You're golden, right?
That's what they say anyway.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, this has been a long time in the making. I know I've met you guys over the course of my pickleball career and kind of seen you here and there, and wanted to get on the At the Net podcast for quite some time, and we finally made it happen.
That's correct. Yeah, we've been talking. We've known Scott since, 20 and 18, maybe. Is that about right?
4 years, yeah.
I think it was, 2018, 2019, somewhere in that range, and got to come to the Texas Open. I believe it was 2018, actually.
Yeah.
And I actually got to sit next to you, Craig, and do some commentary at that one. We had to actually move it inside. I remember it was originally going to be at this Wagon Wheel Tennis Center, which was a huge open outdoor facility. The first day the weather came in, the wind and the rain, we ended up moving it to I believe it was a Lifetime Fitness, about 35 minutes away, and we just made it happen. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was it was like what they call in Texas a gully washer.
It was tough.
It was a couple of gullies. I mean, it was a big. I remember looking at it was about Friday afternoon. I remember looking out to the north, and I was sitting in the broadcast booth and we were doing a match, and I was like, it was okay. And then all of a sudden I saw those black clouds coming in. I'm ooh, this isn't going to be good. And sure enough, I think the winds came up about 40 miles an hour, and it just started raining sidewards. And it was, I think we had to do something with our equipment too. We had to come upstairs and, almost get the rice out just because it got really.
The rice to dry it out.
Oh, my goodness. I was worried about my equipment, but it made it through. And so we were all okay. And then, Scott did us a favor because he stayed on the broadcast with us. It seemed like Saturday and Sunday for about, 10 hours both days. So, I really appreciate, Scott helping me out because that was the first time we ever broadcast pickleball, and I didn't know a lot of the folks, and Scott obviously knows just about everybody. Anybody that's anybody, a big deal in the world of pickleball. Right. Scott knows them, or if he doesn't know them, they don't need to be known, probably.
Well, Scott, we have 3 sets tonight. The first one, of course, your background. The second one, your current projects and your future projects. And the third one, we'll have some fun, and Craig will ask a lot of fun questions to reveal, to display the character of the man next to us. Fantastic guest. Scott, when we met, when you came here to the Texas Open, that was 2018, you were somewhat new to racket sports, including pickleball. How did you get so good so fast, and how did you get into commentary?
That's a great question. So I started playing pickleball back in October of 2016. Okay. I kind of stumbled on the sport. I traditionally grew up playing, baseball, football, basketball, and even ran some track, but never played a racket sport. I look back and, I did play a little tennis with my brothers. I had 3 brothers growing up. So we played a little tennis, just goofing off, never anything serious. But in 2016, I went to the park one night. I vividly remember it was on a Thursday night. Uh-huh. And so I was at the park, and there's a guy with a pickleball tutor machine. He was spitting some pickleballs at him, and he was hitting these returns. And if you've ever been around pickleball, it's a very distinct sound.
Yeah, it's that wiffle ball with a paddle, and it's, I guess, graphite, carbon, plastic kind of a sound, and it's a distinct sound, especially when you're hitting it crisp and firm.
Yes, and that gentleman that night was doing just that. And so, being the nosy person that I am, I went over there and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And in true pickleball fashion, that gentleman, he put a paddle in my hand. It was a Thursday night, and I just remember playing for maybe 30 minutes with them. We just kind of hit around. We didn't even know the rules. I didn't know the rules, didn't keep score, but I guess like a new passion was born that night. I had just gone through a divorce, so it was kind of a rough year in 2016 for me. And I kind of needed something to kind of get me jump started again. And so it was something that was refreshing, kind of new. I'd never heard of it, obviously. And so I think I played, of the next 72 hours, I was probably on the court for the next 70 of those 72 hours. It felt like, anyway.
It was better than sleep.
Oh, it was better than sleep. I don't know what it was about the sport. At that time, I didn't realize what I was getting into, but I just knew I was excited about it, and I wanted to find out more about the sport. Yeah. So then in 2017, I started traveling, playing pickleball all over the country. I spent, well over $10,000 out of my own pocket traveling from East Coast to West Coast, networking, meeting new people, and just trying to immerse myself in the sport of pickleball the best I knew how. You asked how I got into commentary.
Yeah.
So along that journey, as I would go, and I was very passionate about playing. I wanted to become a pro player. Of course, at that time, in 2017, I wasn't very good. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know exactly what it would take to become good at pickleball, but I knew I wanted to accomplish great things in the sport, and didn't exactly know how the path would lead, but I started traveling, like I said. And so when I would go, I would play. And then if I got beat, most of the time I would get to the game right before the gold medal match, or right before the bronze, right before those medal matches. I would get beat most of the time. And so because I loved the sport, I was passionate about it, I would just turn off the playing, mindset, and I would flip on my camera, and I would, what was happening was I was live streaming these medal matches of the people that just beat me, and people would start listening. They would just kind of be gathering around watching the matches, and I would be commentating the live match on my own. No sponsors, no money, nobody really tuning in for real. I mean, maybe my mom and my brother and, a couple other people at that time, but the people around me would listen, and they would enjoy what I was talking about. And I was just sharing the the matches through my lens. And after I'd turn off the camera for the night, people would come up and they'd say, "Hey, you're pretty good at that." And I'd go, "Really? You think so?" And then they talk to me about it. And through that course of the next year, I would do this over and over and over. And you start to build up a following, just like you guys have. It takes time. It's nothing that happens immediately. But I think just over the course of natural progression, I started building up that little bit of following, and my social media presence kind of grew with it. And that year was a kind of a special year for me. I met a lot of good people, and I just learned what it took to put myself in the right positions to make some moves. And so that's how it's kind of, the journey was born.
That's awesome. I love the nascence of you losing, then talking about the game, talking about the people in front of you as the guy who lost to that guy. Was there ever an edgy sentiment like, that guy he just made a mistake when he beat me? Where was that? Like, was there ever any anger or ire or anything?
Maybe on the inside, I was like fuming still probably, but no, I mean, I loved competing, but also my second love was commentating and bringing the live action to the people that couldn't be there at, say, like a Texas Open or something like that. And so, no, the passion was always there for it. And I think one of the reasons people are drawn to me in a way is because of my passion for the sport, my genuineness about it. And even 5 years later, that fire hasn't gone out. I mean, I still love to compete. I just did an exhibition on Thursday of this week, and just so much fun. You know what I mean? I just had a great time, and I enjoy bringing the pickleball excitement to new people, even 5 years later. So no, it's all good, man.
Scott, you're such a fantastic ambassador for the game. We touched on it earlier, but I want a little more detail. How did you get so good so fast? And maybe that is other sports, like you mentioned, track, reading a defense in basketball, baseball, whatever. What made you so good so fast? And then my second part of that question might be a little bit about you coaching the game also. But let's get to that in a minute. Right now, how'd you get good, man? And so fast.
Well, I think one of the unique things about me is that I don't come from that racket sport background, but I'm a fierce competitor. And I feel like one of my natural strengths is my ability to excel at anything that I do. I put my mind to it, and I'm going to be good at it. I'm determined. And also I feel like I have a pretty high IQ on the court. So one of the things that I was able to do was read what other people are doing and learn what they did pretty quickly, and then adapt that to my game as well. But no, how did I get good quick? I think it was just playing over 100 tournaments, and really just putting myself out there. I wasn't afraid to play up. So every time somebody asked me, well, how do you get to the next level? How do you get to that next step? For me, it was always putting myself in a situation, to play people who were better than me. And I think through that, iron sharpens iron. And so I was never afraid. I remember at the Texas Open, the next year after I met Craig and you the first year, it was the next year, I played pro, and, I got my butt kicked. And actually, even backing up, the Atlanta Open in April of 2000, I guess it was May in 2017. I didn't even know, I'd only been playing for maybe 6 months. I played pro that year. And I remember playing Rob Cassidy and Frank Anthony Davis, who are both still big time pros in the sport. And we got beat bad. I mean, I think it was 11-2, 11-4, something like that. But I just always challenge myself to be the best version of who I can be. And I think that's it, man. I just always put myself out there.
You are so lean and so fit. You actually remind me of one of my favorite tennis players, Mats Wilander, a little bit. Mats is famous as of course, commentator. Before that, 7 times Grand Slam champion in men's singles. I believe he won 1 Wimbledon in doubles too. One of the things that made an impact on me in his assessment of how people develop. Because a lot of people are going to get good, but how do you get good quickly? He says, when you first learn the game, you learn to play the ball instead of having the ball play you. Then you learn to play the court, and then finally you get really good and you learn to play that opponent or that person and read what their tendencies are, what they struggle with, what they drum you with when you give them to them. How did you get good at that? Because you're having seen you play, having seen you commentate, you've got a keen eye for that. How did you go from playing just the ball to playing the court and the people?
For me, and I can't speak for anyone else, but for me, it was literally I got on the court every chance I could. I mean, there was times when I was going on that journey to try to get to 5.0 and then pro. I would play 3 times a day. I mean, I was literally getting on the court as much as I could. Also, I remember so many times, like on a Saturday morning when my friends were maybe sleeping in or playing locally. I wanted to get around better players outside of Alabama. So I would drive 3 hours straight up I-65 to Nashville, Tennessee. And I would get around players that were better than me. And I would play for 3 or 4 hours. And then I would get in the car and I would head back. And I'd be back Saturday afternoon. And I did that over and over. I would also drive on, I would leave work on, I was working Monday through Thursday at the time. So I kept my Friday, Saturday, Sunday open for pickleball. And I remember I would drive either 3 hours up to Nashville North, or I would go 3 hours east over to Atlanta. And I would play against guys at this place called The Forum. And there were 6 dedicated courts. It was at this guy's, this husband and wife's house. They took 2 tennis courts, converted it into pickleball paradise. And I would go at least 2 times a month. You can ask those guys to this day. Every time they see me, they say, we're the reason you got good so fast. You know what I mean? They used to kick my butt over and over. And now when I go back to the farm, I kick their butt. But you know what? They still just appreciate those times, and so do I. But yeah, it's just exposure on the court, man. And I think it is that natural ability for me to just read players and read what their tendencies are. And I felt like I always had pretty quick hands. So that wasn't something that I needed to really work on. It just sharpens with time. So the more I got around people who also had quick hands, you get into those firefights at the net and you lose initially. And then what happens is everything's happening very quickly in the beginning. And then after you see it again and again and again, it starts to slow down in your mind. And then when it slows down in your mind, then it can manifest physically into your game. And so I feel like for me, it just happened over a period of about maybe 6 to 8 months where I really put myself in that fire over and over and over. I would actually invite the firefight so I could get good at it. I would actually, I know this sounds crazy, but I would actually pop the ball up a couple of times throughout a game just to have them fire it at me so I could see if I could handle it. So it's really one of those things where, you have to put yourself in those situations. There's really no substitute.
I know for a fact that has not just made you a good player, but also a great commentator and a good coach. Tell us about the coaching side. How do you approach, let's say it's a player who already had a racket sports background and she or he is really trying to get to your level, maybe 5.0, maybe even beyond, but she might start like you probably did at the 3.5 or 4.0 level. How are you approaching that person in lessons?
Sure. So obviously everybody's comes from a different background, a different way of approaching pickleball. I think the thing I love the most about pickleball is that you can get really good and you can excel with this sport, where if I tried to start picking up tennis right now at 37, it would take me years to even get to a place where I could be competitive. I'm not saying that I wouldn't be able to hit the ball around, but it just, from a competition standpoint, it would be so much harder. So if I'm going to approach this, say a 4.0 or 4.5 tennis player, the first thing I'm going to tell them is, hey, listen, you have a foundation that is going to help you in pickleball. However, you cannot solely rely on your tennis skills to make you a good pickleball player. You have to adapt the way the game is played in pickleball. It's not a tennis court. It's not a tennis racket with strings. So the first thing I do is tell them, you can't slice the ball like you can in
tennis.
Yeah. You just can't. You can do an abbreviated version of it, but you can't do that.
Yeah.
They naturally tend to have topspin.
Yeah.
So the first thing I'm going to teach them probably is how to transition from the baseline to the kitchen, and explain to them how important that non-volley zone is. I think that tennis players just naturally want to stay back, and they want to hit ground strokes from the baseline. And that's fine in the very beginning. But the truth is, if you want to play pickleball, you need to learn the strategies and the techniques of pickleball. So that would be the first thing I would explain. I wouldn't want them to not take anything over from tennis. I think court coverage, footwork, the technique is all going to be stuff that they can translate over very quickly. But then the doubles game in pickleball is very different than doubles in tennis. For example, in tennis, you have one up, one back. In pickleball, you want to stay as a team together, and you want to move up and be smooth, like almost like a symphony or an orchestra. You want to move fluid and smooth. And so it's very different. And so it's just explaining those things to a player. And then we would just work on some drills. We'd work on the drop shot. Tennis players have a drop shot. They have a slice usually that they can drop into the close part of the court.
Sure.
But dropping it into a 7-foot zone with a big, tall opponent, standing on the other side of the net is difficult. It can be tricky. So yeah, that's the main thing I would work on when they first come over.
That's great. Speaking of coaching, when do you get to the scoring of pickleball? Because, like you said, some of the skills do translate, but the scoring is quite different. Tell us a little bit about when you introduce that to a lesson taker, a student, a client.
Definitely not the first lesson.
I thought
we don't spend any time on the scoring the first lesson, unless somebody specifically asks for that.
Because maybe they've played and they want the rules, but most people probably don't ask for that early on.
No, they typically don't. No, we don't get too many people asking about the scoring. They actually typically say, "Hey, can we worry about that later? This is way too confusing right now. I'm just trying to work on hitting the ball over the net." So what I usually recommend is I do a lesson with them, and then I will tell them, here's a couple links. I'll send them a couple links to watch the rules, somebody explaining the rules and the scoring, so they can sit down, have a cup of coffee the next morning, kind of let their brain process that stuff, and then they come back a second time, and we'll work on scoring a little bit more.
Very smart to outsource that. That way, when you're on the court, you can near the net, you can talk about the various skills and strategies and tactics at hand. That's really smart. Here's a Craig has a few actually really great questions about pickleball in general, but one of the ones I've been wondering is there are several stories about the name. I love hearing it from pro pickleball players who are remarkable athletes who are hitting the crap out of the ball and responding to everything, and they're lightning quick in doubles and singles. But a lot of them say, goofy game, goofy name, but great game. Right? So tell us, of the several stories about how pickleball got its name, what's the real deal?
Okay, so that's a great question. A lot of people ask that. Uh-huh. It was invented in 1965 on Bainbridge Island in Washington
State,
and it was in the Pacific Northwest. Yeah. And so the name came from two different things. The first story that was picked up by the media back in the late 60s, early 70s was a dog named Pickles. So basically they would play pickleball, and when the ball would get hit, the dog would chase the ball. And the dog's name was Pickles. That was the name before the sport got created. And the ball would be chased by the dog, and they would say, "That's Pickles' ball," because he would chase it. Yeah. So then it gradually, the media picked it up, and it became pickleball. But that's not the story that originally happened. You guys have to stay with me on this because it takes a second to explain. But I don't come from the Pacific Northwest, so I've never had experience with rowing, like the boats that you row. But apparently, in that type of sport, there's a boat called a pickle boat.
Pickle boat. Okay, yeah.
Right. And so there's a pickle boat, and it's a mixture or a smorgasbord of all from what I understand, like the extra rowers, the extra teammates, and they're on this extra boat. I don't know why or exactly what their purpose is, but it's a mixture of different guys. And one of the inventors of the game, his wife, was watching the people play, and she said, you know what? This reminds me of the pickle boat. And so that was and then it was the combination of badminton, ping pong, and tennis.
Yeah.
She said it's got a combination of all those sports, and it reminds me of the pickle boat. So that's kind of where it was birthed originally. But the media didn't really like that one as much, from what I understand. So they went with the dog whip.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have. I have some knowledge about what the pickle boat is, but the dog one is the more memorable story. Folks at home, DM us or comment below which one is your favorite: the boat, the pickleball being named after the pickle boat, or the little cute dog. Craig, what's your favorite?
The dog.
Yeah, I thought so.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to say, yeah.
Right. I mean, that makes
Love them both.
more fun.
Yeah, it's cuter.
Right.
That's Pickle's ball.
Well, that's Pickle's ball.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. And for anybody wondering if that's a true story, it is. There's actually a picture at the Pickleball Hall of Fame. There's a picture of the original dog. So I think it's a golden retriever. I could be wrong on that, but I thought it was a golden retriever. But
he is nicknamed the Golden Boy.
Yes, and a golden retriever.
The Pickles is, yeah. Hey, where is the Hall of Fame of pickleball?
That's a great question. So when they created Seymour Rifkin is behind the Pickleball Hall of Fame. He originally created it as like a just online Hall of Fame originally, and now they're building a brick and mortar, I believe, in Texas. I could be wrong, but I think it's in Texas.
Yeah,
excellent. We're going.
Yeah, we'll be there.
We're definitely going. Yeah. And while we're on it, a quick comment from Nick Smith. He says, for tennis players, the transition to pickle is easy, in his opinion. Of course, he's a very good athlete, and he adds he likes the dog analogy. Tell us about when you had not much of a transition into commentating. Basically, you did both, right? It wasn't like you used to play, then you did commentary. You did both at the same time. Tell us a little bit about the various entities. And I want Craig to sort of ask this question because we've been talking a lot about PPA, APP, Major League Pickleball.
Yes.
What else are you curious about? And maybe Golden Boy can let us in on what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, there seems like there's a few entities out there, and I know that. Do you think? There's USAPA, there's SIPA, there's
SIPA. That's right. USAPA is the more officiating. Is that right, Scott?
Is it the USTA of pickleball, USAPA, or right now at this point?
Yes. So SSIPA and USA Pickleball, those are both from the same organization. Okay. They're considered the governing body of pickleball. Does anybody know what SSIPA stands for? Do you guys know what that? I didn't know originally what that stood for, but basically USA Pickleball is United States of America Pickleball Association. Okay. There was a need for another organization that could put on tournaments for super seniors.
Super senior. And then
Super Senior
is International Pickleball Association.
Yeah, watch out.
There you go.
Watch out, the super seniors. Don't be
super seniors.
Don't be saying super seniors. I want to know what clarifies a super senior.
Yeah. What is that? What age group is super?
Okay, so here you go. So 49 and below is just, under the senior division.
Yeah.
Then you've got 50 to 59 is the senior division.
Gotcha.
And then 60 plus is considered super senior.
You're a super senior. I'm just a senior.
Do you get a discount at Luby's? Like a 10%?
You should. You should if you don't.
Yeah.
You should. You should put that email in.
Yeah, but if you do go for the discount, you got to go like before 4 o'clock when y'all eat,
That's right?
When you guys.
That's right.
I'll take my teeth. I'll take my teeth out, or put them in, so I can eat. Is that okay? Yeah. So, do you have Luby's down there in Florida? You know what we're talking about?
I don't think we have it in Florida, but I could be wrong. I haven't seen it in Florida, but I have seen it elsewhere.
Right. So
definitely a wholesome cafeteria style.
Yes, it gets a bad rap in the state of Texas, even though it's actually good. I like eating at Luby's, believe it or not.
Oh yeah, they play both kinds of music.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they do.
Country
I love it.
country and Western. Yeah.
And sometimes you might get a little bit of rock and roll in there, but yeah, Luby's is kind of the brunt of a lot of jokes about the super senior going and eating there at 4:00 in the afternoon, and then people going to bed by 6:00 or something. And that's in Florida. That's about where you live.
That's right.
Everybody rolls up the carpet at about 6:00, don't they?
Well, when I first moved to Florida in July of 2019, I lived in Naples, and that was a sleepy town.
Yeah,
that was a very sleepy town. Yeah, they probably did go to bed about 8 p.m. But now I'm on the East Coast. We have a little bit younger population. I think.
More nightlife.
A little bit more nightlife. Not much. Maybe 10 o'clock.
He probably heads down to Miami, down to South Beach. I know. I can see Scott. I know that guy. You know, he's a South Beach kind of guy.
He is. Yeah.
I just hate the traffic down there in Miami.
I'm sure. That's a big town.
Yep.
Hey, this is another great question from a regular, brilliant tennis player and pickleballer. His name is Nick Smith, and he asks, in the future, would there ever be a chance of the paddles being coated with sandpaper or possibly padded in the way table tennis paddles are to make the game more challenging from the shot-making aspect? And I feel like where he's going is spinning the ball more. Your thoughts on that, on paddle technology?
You know, paddle technology has come a extremely long way in the time that I've been in the sport, even the last 5 years. USA Pickleball has very stringent guidelines, and so these manufacturers have to abide by certain criteria. I think from what I understand, they are very rigid with it right now. They're not big on changing it. That's a tough question to answer. I mean, I think that they want the sport to evolve and to continue to progress, but I think there needs to also be some type of balance with it. I don't think extreme spin where, you hit a ball off the paddle and it can shoot 3 feet sideways, 90 degrees. I don't know if that's best for the sport, but, but no, I mean, I think there's going to be progression. These manufacturers are always pushing the envelope. Always, always, always.
We were talking to a recent friend of ours in pickleball. Is this true that there are maybe over 100 companies that make paddles at this point?
Oh, certainly. When I got into the sport 5 years ago, I want to say I saw a statistic that there was only 14 manufacturers when I got in, and there's well over 100 now for sure.
Yeah, it's a lot like hard seltzer. There are only 4 or 5 companies now. There's 800 companies making it. I think Under Armour, Nike, and Adidas are about to do it too.
Right,
hard seltzers and pickleball paddles.
And also, I think you can get a Golden Boy, pickleball paddle. Is that
a custom?
correct?
Tell us which company. I feel like we can get it at a lot of stores like Dick's Sporting Goods, but tell us about the Golden Axe. Tell us about your actual paddle.
Absolutely. So that's something I'm very proud of. I signed with Monarch, which is owned by Dick's Sporting Goods, about 3 years ago, and one of the negotiations that I made, which I'm very proud of, is that I wanted my own signature paddle, and they helped that dream come true. I mean, they really did. They really liked that my last name was Golden, and that it works well with marketing. So, I actually had a client today at the country club that I teach pickleball at. He said, "Man, I was in Dick's Sporting Goods earlier, and I saw your ugly mug on the front of that paddle." He said it threw me off, but obviously he was kidding.
Yeah,
with me,
he's like my coach is everywhere. What is this?
So it's good.
He has a billboard down in Florida also, too.
I didn't know this. Tell us about it, Craig.
No, I've heard about that billboard, Golden Boy Pickleball. Call, this number and you can get lessons and a Monarch paddle, right?
My phone blows up constantly, guys.
I love it, man. Love it. People want to learn that great game. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, that's actually that'd be a good segue for where can people find you if they want to reach out to you. Tell us your digits if you want to, or an email or a website.
Absolutely. So if you want to email me the traditional way, it's goldenboypickleball@gmail.com.
Easy.
And then I'm on Facebook under Golden Boy Pickleball. and Scott Golden, although I have the maximum amount of friends they allow which is 5,000. So I might have to delete some people if people send me some friend requests. But but you can go to Golden Boy Pickleball, like that page to follow social media stuff. Also, Instagram is Golden Boy Pickleball. I'm trying to think. TikTok, same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. All the social media outlets is Golden Boy Pickleball, pretty much.
Well, thank you, Scott. And Craig, thank you for that nice segue into the second set. This is where we get to talk about current and future projects. You've told us a little bit about where you used to coach at an academy, and now you're at a country club where you're coaching. What's it like? Where is it? And of course, in South Florida. And tell us a little bit about how your day goes or how your week goes when you're trying to juggle commentary, competition, and coaching.
You know what? I always say, what a life I get to live. I mean, I basically eat, sleep, and breathe pickleball all day, every day. So it's not a bad life to have. I'm glad that I get, paid to coach and help people get better at pickleball. I teach at a very affluent country club right in the middle of Boca Raton. I just got this job about a month and a half ago, so it's been a really big blessing. I'm making, really honestly some of the best money that I've ever made, and I get to wake up every day excited to teach pickleball, play pickleball. My boss, he encourages me to bring some of the other 5.0 and pro players to our country club to let some of the members get to see us play. And so it's really just neat. I work, pretty long days. I'm booking up fast. So I do lessons from 8 a.m., sometimes up until 8 p.m. So it just depends.
That's not a bad gig.
It's a great gig. And at the club where you are, is it dedicated courts or painted or taped lines? Temporary nets?
We don't do anything halfway at the country club that I'm at. They have 8 dedicated pickleball courts, fully. They were lit with LED lighting. They've got individual fencing. Everything's premium. We've got a first class place there. So.
That sounds.
We're building 3 dedicated pickleball courts.
Right.
You'll be glad to hear that. They'll be up and going probably in about.
That's
2
right.
months.
2 months.
2 months. 3 months.
Okay.
With lights.
Okay.
So you can come christen the Bentry courts. We'll have Scott Golden come up and.
Did you say with lights?
With lights. Yes.
That's lit.
Let's
do
lit,
it, bro. That's lit, dude.
We're gonna light them up.
Yeah, I like it.
Light them up.
Right. Yeah. No, we'll have you come up. If you're, not in the neighborhood, then we might have to.
He'll certainly be here for Texas Open next year, I would think. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we'd love to have Scott come over and kind of see what we got here at the club.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And then you asked me about how I juggle the commentating too.
Yes.
The commentating is something that we can plan in advance, so I kind of know when I'm going to be doing which tournament and stuff like that. And then it's just preparation and planning.
Block it off, prep, plan. That's good. Yeah. While we're on, current and future projects, second set, tell us about the future projects. Granted, you're only 6 weeks into your tenure at this fantastic club, but tell us about what you see in the future for yourself, but also for the sport.
For sure. Well, eventually I'd like to become the director of pickleball. Right now I'm just a head pro, a teaching pro. So eventually I want to grow the program to a level where I've got, maybe a couple of pickleball assistants helping facilitate doing some clinics and things like that. So long-term, that would be the goal there. Of course, I love teaching. So that's something that I want to continue doing as well for the foreseeable future. As far as growth with the sport, I mean, my goodness, where do I start? 5 years ago, people were making fun of the name, and tennis players were getting angry that we were even taping courts temporarily. Now all the tennis players seem to want a piece of pickleball, and we're seeing tremendous growth all over the world, not just the United States, but in every country that I can see it's starting to pick up and grow. I take groups of pickleball players to Costa Rica, and you would be amazed at the craze for pickleball in Costa Rica. It's it's getting very popular there. So, the future is bright for pickleball. I think, as you guys were mentioning off camera earlier, the championship Sunday for the Professional Pickleball Association is on Fox Sports 2 right now.
Right now, as we speak, yeah.
And then back maybe 2 months ago, or a little less than 2 months ago, we were on the Tennis Channel, which is a big step forward. They brought in millions of dollars worth of camera equipment. They brought their crew in, and they did a phenomenal job, filming live pickleball. So I think it's just beginning. And of course, we had the Major League Pickleball in Austin, Texas, that just happened, I think, last weekend.
Yes.
And that was unbelievable. And I think that's just the beginning.
Was that format like World Team Tennis? Those who are on the tennis side know kind of what World Team Tennis is. It's going on right now over at Indian Wells, which we can talk about Margaritaville after your conversation about the Major League Pickleball. Is it a team format? Is that what that was?
It was a team format. So basically, there was 8 owners. They bought a team for $150,000. And then I don't know how the dynamics of it worked with the money, but basically there was a big pot of money for the players. They got about, I think, anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 just to show up. There was 32 pro players that competed from, I think, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Or maybe it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, something like that. It was a 4-day event. And they did like a cool tiebreaker with singles. And it was like a team format with singles. And actually the MVP was Lee Whitwell. And she's now down here in Florida. She's originally from the Rock of Gibraltar, which is something I had never heard of until she
it's
told
like
me.
Right between Morocco and Spain, and they speak English.
That's where I think pickleball. I think Rock of Gibraltar.
The Rock of Gibraltar.
Absolutely. I mean, it's right.
Yeah,
there.
certainly that's the first thing I think of too, Craig.
On the rock.
Right. I mean, it's literally.
So she's unbelievable. 47 years old, was beating up on those guys like Deckelbar, Riley Newman. Like, she was tearing them a new one in singles. It was unbelievable.
That's so cool. Hey, does she speak with a British accent or a Spanish accent? Whitwell.
I would say more British than anything, but she's a unique person. She's got her own flair. So
she have a lot of wit and witticism.
Yeah, I'm sure.
100%. That's all. She's full of sarcasm and wit.
It could be wit.
Yeah. Where's her nickname? Well, or her surname? Well, yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, that's I was because I know that's a fairly new product or team concept.
The Major League Pickleball,
yes, I thought that was really fascinating.
And
I mean, pickleball is really
how engaging for the fans too, to have not just individuals who are household names now, but teams that you can really get behind.
Oh, it's unbelievable. And I will say that this setting in Austin at the place that they did that, I think it was at Dreamland maybe, the setting was very intimate. The crowd was on both sides with Bleacher Stadium. You could see, even through the camera, you could feel and see the energy and the electricity that was just surging through there. So I think that's just the beginning. They're going to do more. I thought when I first heard Major League Pickleball, the name league, Major League, I was thinking that was referring more to like a season where they're going to be competing for like a baseball team, what it MLB or a football team. But from what I can tell, the format is more like every few months or every 6 months, they're going to do like a 4-day event with the teams. So I think it's going to be an ongoing thing, and it's not just going to be a one-time thing. So
cool.
Yeah,
so cool. Love that idea.
Do you see more events like that? Not that you were going to try to have you give away anything that might be coming up, but are there more events like this out on the horizon that pickleball's thinking about?
If there is, I don't know of anything specific, but I do know that people, anytime there's this kind of like, let's say, quote unquote, gold rush, this is like a pickleball craze, pickleball rush. There's always going to be something coming on the horizon. I know we've been seeing a lot of, and this is not at the professional level, but like glow in the dark pickleball events. We're starting to see people get more and more creative with what they're doing with pickleball. I know for us, even at like our country club, the director of racket sports wants me to bring in some of the top names in pickleball and do like an exhibition with some of the top names. So just things like that. It's always going to be something of evolution when we're seeing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, AJ and I were part of this really cool event last Tuesday night. We hosted a night for veterans, honoring. We had a big golf event on Thursday, a gala on Wednesday. Our portion of it, instead of actually tennis, believe it or not, we did a pickleball event. Yeah, we had
indoors.
About 11 or 12 veterans out here playing pickleball with our members, and it was really cool. And AJ was out here.
Four courts plus a practice court, a warm up sort of. Yeah.
No, they had
such
a great
a blast.
We had drinks and food.
Food, right.
We had people watching. I mean, it was really an exciting night.
Tremendous.
And the gentleman who put it together, so this Wednesday night, to tell you what this event's about, it's been going on about 7 years. Jack Nicklaus was an honorary guest in attendance. So I mean, it brought in about 350 people, and they had
and a remarkable commentator, Faraday,
David Faraday.
David Faraday from he happens to live here. The guy is absolutely hilarious and connects with the veterans, the members, the players, but really connects. And it was a tremendous event. Well done.
Yeah, and so decidedly so. So like what you're saying, I was thinking about tennis, but I thought, let's put a different twist on this, and let's do pickleball. And we taped up 4 indoor courts, and the veterans came out. It was really a cool night. AJ was a part of it. And,
I loved it.
Pickleball for us is we'll have to get you to come up, like I said.
Yes.
We'll get the Golden Boy to come up and bring a few buddies maybe to bench recon.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in. Just say when and where. I'll be there, man.
Okay. Yep. We might think about it for next year. But also for sure.
Okay.
And speaking of the meteoric rise, like you were saying, the gold rush and how many new progressive creative things that are going on in pickleball, that will present more and more opportunities for you as a commentator. Can you talk a little bit? I know you mentioned how you'd set up a tripod and just do it on your own and commentate from your lens. But as you've grown, you've done commentary with a partner or two in the booth. What do you look for in somebody who you'd consider a really good broadcast partner?
Absolutely. That's a great question. So when I do it, I want somebody that I have good vibes, good energy with, because I think that translates through on the screen. And so when you have discord or dysfunction between two commentators, people at home can feel that. And I think it really is something that is important. So that's the first thing I want, is two people that connect, have good energy, good vibes. And then I think this is the biggest thing that I've found for me personally, is that you have to have both people that know what their role is, and that they don't try to speak over each other, talk over each other, or even do the other person's job. If one can kind of lead the way, and then the other one can kind of give the insight and the analysis, I think that's when it really is successful. And then I want to say this: the biggest feedback that I have gotten is the people at home, the viewers, do not want us talking during the point. I don't know what it is, but they just do not want us talking.
That sounds a lot like tennis, where in the old days, particularly in Britain, they would never speak during the point, and they would simply a few words between it. On this side of the pond, we've got commentators who talk through also, and it sounds like pickleball, as much as it's such a new, energetic, fun, convivial sport, it sounds like some of the viewers are pretty traditional, where they want silence, they want to hear the ball.
Absolutely. So I will say, just to defend us commentators for a second.
Yes.
In pickleball, there's only maybe 10 to 12 seconds between each point. And so it becomes very challenging to try and see what the viewers are seeing, and then break that down or analyze that or give some type of feedback for 10 seconds, because it goes extremely quick. And so when you're trying to talk about that point, they're starting a whole new point.
Yeah.
And so I would say that is one of the challenges. I think for me, one of the things I've tried to do to get better and improve is to be short, precise, and to the point with what I want to say, and do it in 10 to 12 seconds.
How much prep work do you do for each broadcast? I mean, I know you know a lot of the players, but they don't have a lot of Wikipedia pages. So how do you figure out some nuggets? Because it's interesting as broadcasters to be able to bring a nugget about somebody and bring it into a real touch point for the viewers. Do you spend a lot of time trying to research, trying to figure out what you're going to say? Do you have a catchphrase?
For sure. No, that's a great question. And the simple answer is I do know a lot of the pros, and I have even personal stories with them, because pickleball is still a very small, close-knit type of sport. It's not grown to the level where pros are not accessible. So I go out to eat with them. A lot of times I spend time with them. So that's one of the ways that I prepare, is I just try to spend time with them and get to know them as people. And if you can get to know their personalities and some stories, like I have some great stories about the Newmans, Riley and Lindsay Newman, the brother and sister. I went out to dinner with them one time, and they love to compete at everything they do. And so we were at this restaurant, and they broke out in one of the games of it was where you make the paper, the triangle, and then you kick the field goals.
Yeah.
And then the one where you nudge it 3 times and try to get it to the edge of the table. They were competing like crazy with that. And I even live streamed it. It was so much fun. Also know that when they compete, they love to put blizzards, Dairy Queen blizzards on the table to compete for. So that's just little tidbits of information like that I try to find. As far as preparation, it can be challenging because we don't have a ton of stats in our sport right now. So it's difficult, and we don't have a huge amount of staff feeding us the stats and the information. So anything that we do, it is on our own right now. Basically, we're preparing for that. But I think that's going to change. I think as the sport continues to evolve, we will start to see some of the statistics get sharper and more and more. Personally, I would love to be able to find out more information of how many head-to-heads certain opponents have had. Let's just say, for example, Ben Johns and Zayn Navratil competing in singles in a finals match. It'd be great for me to be able to know how many times they've competed, how many times Ben's has won, and vice versa, those kind of things.
Maybe we'll just get IBM to start doing all this.
Watson. We'll ask Watson.
Yeah, because IBM does a lot of work. I know, they do. They're credited statistics,
even
analysis.
AI now. Yeah.
Yes. And we've got a couple of tennis buddies that you probably have heard of, Craig O'Shaughnessy and Warren Pretorius. They've been on the podcast with us, and they're stat masters, as well. So we'll have to get. Might be a cottage industry right there, Golden Boy right there. So.
I love it.
Yeah.
Smart.
Also, one other funny thing. I have a friend. I won't say who it is, but when I'm on the commentating booth, when I'm in the commentating booth, he will send me like little tidbits of information as well. And so it's fun because I try to weave that stuff into the broadcast, but do it subtly, so he'll give me like funny things, like even Lee Whitwell, the Rock of Gibraltar. He might give me that or something to that effect, little things. Yeah. So I think that's always fun.
You get to weave some words in there that kind of some funny stuff that nobody would know except for
inside joke kind of things.
Inside joke, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir. And it is fun. It makes it a little more entertaining for me and for even people that catch it,
Yeah.
Well, I know that the Ticket, which is the sports radio station that's hugely popular here in in Dallas and in the United States, they talk to Joe Buck every week, and they try to get him to say some type of phrase or something like that that has no meaning whatsoever, that they just get a word in.
Kind of pranky and funny.
Yeah, and Joe's actually worked it in a couple of words every now and then on some broadcasts, and I'm sure people are going, what the heck is that? And then, these guys start laughing, I'm sure. That
cackling, not just laughing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
These guys are Marconi winners as well. They just won their 4th Marconi, which is
recent.
Is the Academy Awards of radio and television. So they're pretty funny. So they're big. They're a big deal, and they get Joe Buck. It's they're really. But it's funny because they take the sports world kind of tongue in cheek like we do. I think because I think we all have that same type of feel for broadcasting. But it's kind of interesting. So you do work in an occasional phrase or catchphrase or word, right?
100%. You have to.
All right. Just to keep it kind of fun, but not.
Give us an example of a catchword that you've used and you get kind of excited about.
Let's see. The ones that my buddy gives me, he will use words that are just outrageous, but they apply to, like, say, Tyson McGuffin when he's on the court.
Yeah.
So he'll give me like a catchphrase to use for Tyson McGuffin. Or there's just some things. I mean, some of it I can't use because it's just so out there that it would be. I might even get in trouble for it. You know what I mean? But it does make me laugh.
Yeah.
But no, I can't think of anything right now that I use specifically. I try to stay away from generic catchphrases if I can. I know that. I try not to be cheesy if I can help it.
You could say, Tyson McGuffin, the crime dog, like
McGriff.
McGruff.
Yes.
McGruff, yeah.
Call him that, or maybe you don't have a catchphrase. I'm surprised that you don't have
Well, what I do credit myself with doing is I was the one that came up with the Flying Frenchman. I use that name. Yes.
That's got to be Jocelyn Devier. Love that guy.
Yes, sir. And so I think for me, I've seen other commentators use that phrase now, and he's known as the Flying Frenchman. But I was the first one to say that on the broadcast.
You coined it.
It stuck.
You coined it, but it sounds like Flying Dutchman from our era. Tom Ocker, amazing Dutch guy, and Flying Frenchman kind of rhymes with Flying Dutchman. I love it.
Always liked.
And he flies. That's a big boy, and he moves really well, and he hits tweeners whenever he feels like it. Right? He's crazy.
Oh, the guy's insane. His athleticism is through the roof.
It's so good.
I always liked Robbie Koenig on tennis. Says he's faster than a mongoose on steroids. That's I don't know where that came from. I just think when you said Tyson McGuffin, I go, you can use that. Because I don't. It's
a fantastic accent he has.
Yes.
Robbie has this high voice and a South African accent. He's like, "Oh, that was unbelievable. He's like a mongoose on amphetamines." Like that.
Or something. It's something really crazy. You're gonna have to come up with something.
Yeah.
We want
I'm
you to
gonna
work
have to come up with something
for us. So on the podcast, so we'll have something special. So
Sure.
I sure will.
Or
That's fantastic.
We'll send you something for your next podcast.
We will. We'll help you.
Right.
We'll text you, man. That'll be fun.
Now that we know there's an inside joke,
there's a little,
we'll
funny.
Keep the humor going, so that way we'll see if once you're on ESPN or Fox, that we'll see if the Golden Boy will play along with us, huh? Yeah.
I will for sure.
Well, speaking of humor, I want to get to the third set, but CB, before we do, any interesting, fun questions from the gallery or from you?
Well, I think that Nick Smith once again came up with a good concept. Should there be a tournament incorporating the ATP Tour? Maybe like a Rafa, along with some top pickleball pros. What do you think about that, Rafa?
Well, I would love to. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to learn the game, no? I'm going to take a few lessons from the Golden Boy, no? I'm going to adapt my game, no, to the pickleball.
Yeah.
I enjoy pickles with seafood, and I'm gonna do my best, no?
Do you have a dog named Pickles?
I don't have a perro named Pickle, but I can arrange this, no?
Oh, my gosh. That sounds just like Rafael Nadal.
Yeah.
I mean, just like him.
Oh, yeah. He has other voices, too. We'll get to those here in a little bit. So we just haven't quite.
That's so great.
Well, thank you both for indulging my Rafa and my Robbie Koenig. I love them both.
Yeah, no, that's he's funny stuff. So actually, do you think that'd be kind of fun? Wouldn't it? Get some, because tennis is. I mean, Isner did play some pickleball. I know at the Texas Open a couple of years ago. They had him as the celebrity pro and played some pro-am matches, right?
He is so long, he can do Ernie without trying. He can just lean out there and hit around the post.
It would just be his normal step over the kitchen. He wouldn't even have to jump. I mean, I saw him up close. I was at the Texas Open. I actually filmed some of my, some video of him, and he looked almost out of place because the court's so small. He's like almost 7 feet. I think he's 6'7", something like
6'11", or 6'10".
I mean, 6'11". I'm sorry. Yeah.
He can
and he looked out of place to me, but very smooth as a pickleball player. I mean, he was smooth with his shots for sure.
It's funny you mentioned that because on a tennis court, when we went to the press conference for the Dallas Open, he hit a few balls, Isner, with Dirk Nowitzki, and I was joking that, my God, these guys are so big, they make it look like a pickleball court. It's 78 feet long, but because they're so large, it almost felt like us playing pickle or table tennis or something. So fun.
I actually have a funny story about that. Just hit me about John Isner.
Oh, good.
I've never even seen a professional tennis player up close until John Isner at the Texas Open, and he was there during that exhibition. And so I said to my friend, I said, "Hey, let's go over and get a picture with them," because people were taking some pictures, and she said, like, "Oh, I don't think we should bother him." I go, "Oh, no. We're going to bother him." I've never
come on.
Never been close to a 6'11" professional tennis player. So we go over there, and I boldly said, "Hey, can we get a picture with you?" And he obliged. But the craziest part was, normally you would put your arm around somebody's shoulder,
right,
you
right.
take a picture.
That's up there.
And so it was around it. Like I put my arm around his lower waist, and it was awkward. And he didn't want me touching him. He kind of
squirmed off that one.
Yeah, because but he probably gets touched like that all the time, and not even. It's just the way he's so tall.
Yeah.
Right.
It was crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
we can.
Yeah, shoulder to shoulder, the same height. Yeah.
No, that's a funny story.
So
I imagine that was. I hadn't thought about that. That's pretty darn awkward. He's like, "Hey, where are you going with that hand?"
Yeah, like, are we dancing? What is this? Is this a slow dance? I don't hear any music, Scott.
Yeah.
He was having none of the Golden Boy touch.
No.
I'm telling you, he didn't want any of it.
So funny.
Well, one last question in the second set before we get to the third set.
Yeah.
Where do you see juniors coming into this role of the world of pickleball? Do you see like tennis? It has a huge junior base that there's burgeoning thriving junior programs, goes into college tennis. Will there be at some point, do you think, an opportunity for kids to evolve in pickleball?
Yes, there's already a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. I will just tell you this. If junior tennis players start getting wind that they can make the kind of money that Ben Johns makes in pickleball at 22 as a part-time college student or full-time college student, we will start seeing some Rafael Nadals come over. But I can also tell you, I do a lot of lessons with 50 plus adults, and it takes them quite a while to pick up on how to do things. And they're kind of stubborn sometimes to learn things. I did a lesson with a 19-year-old the other day, and this kid comes from tennis, and it took him maybe half a game, and he was already figuring out the touch, the spin, the slice. He was almost figuring out on his own what to do. And I would give him one little thing, and he would immediately implement that thing. And so they have the ornate ability to pick up a pickleball paddle and almost be, good right out of the gate if they come from even a tennis background. So it's going to be scary, but yes, there's a lot going on. USA Pickleball has done a phenomenal job with the youth program across the country. So I do think we're going to see some really big opportunities. I really think once the sport gets to the Olympics, that's when we're really going to see the windfall of maybe, high schools and colleges starting to adapt to pickleball, and even some college scholarships, for kids. So
interesting. No, keep going about Olympics. What do you think? What do you hear on the Olympic front?
Yeah, when and Paris or Los Angeles? Which Olympics do you think pickleball will be blessed with?
So there's some criteria that has to be met. So from what I understand, I'm not an expert on it, but I hear that you have to have 70 countries that are playing the sport from an organized situation.
I see.
Organized body. And we have about 57 or 58, somewhere in there, maybe a little more. So we're not far off. I think tentatively 2028, they could do maybe experiment with it as a trial. But I would be lying if I said I knew all the the ins and outs of it. But I think 2028 we could see maybe a trial run for pickleball.
Interesting. Yeah, I hadn't even thought about Olympics and pickleball. Yeah, that would definitely put pickleball on the map. Not that it didn't already. I know Scott Moore and Daniel have been over in Asia doing a lot of work over there in the Asian market. And then I know Gene Stasny sent some stuff last year from the Texas Open over to, I believe, 3 or 4 countries over in
India,
Europe.
Scotland, several others too. Yeah, England for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the word is spreading, from what I understand. So that's really a good point. Do you think that? What do you see the future? What do you see do you see it ever capping out, or do you see maybe?
I don't think it's going to tap out, guys. I think the sky is the limit. And just like with any other sport, with the right moves being made, I think it can become a nationally televised sport. I think it's as exciting or more exciting. I'm probably going to get in trouble for this. As exciting or more exciting than watching golf on TV. Not taking anything away from golf. I just think that if something like golf can be on national television, why can't pickleball?
Golden Boy, if something like Chinese football and 3 shots to the edge of the table can be streamed and popular, then yes, I think you're right.
I think so. Also, what's the game with the bean bags?
It's got to be cornhole.
Yep.
Yes.
Cornhole's on ESPN. I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah, it's funny. One of my broadcast school assignments was to do taped commentary, just one-man show, taped commentary on cornhole event, on a video of a cornhole event. And it was hilarious because I was able to make up some background, but I also had to do some research on the teams. And it was like Major League Pickleball, where it was a team event. So fun.
Yeah. But, I mean, how much can you really analyze somebody throwing a beanbag into a hole? I mean, come on.
I mean, you got to have good cameras to look at that wrist and the pronation or the supination or the,
Hey, I'm going to go to the Olympics in curling.
Yes, you're good at that.
I'm really good at curling. So that's another one. I'm sitting there going, of the sports, which can I get? 62. Where can I get there? I think maybe.
Would you be the slide the rock guy or the sweeper?
I'm the sweeper. Because I got too much energy.
Yeah, you're energetic. I like that. I like it.
That's good.
Last really good question.
Yeah.
Right? Now I don't want you to give up. I want you to talk generically about this because I know that you're involved with one of the organizations. Is there room for 2 professional leagues in pickleball right now? Or tournament.
The tours?
Yes, the tours. There we go. Is there room for 2, you think?
Absolutely. I think there is. I think there's room for 2. I do think there's going to come a time where the pros are going to make some decisions on which tour they want to be a part of.
I see.
I just don't think you can, between the 2 tours in 2022, there's 52 tournaments. I don't know how any pro could play. I mean, the most I've ever played in a year was 35, and that was brutal. That was almost every weekend. So, I think there'll come a time where they will have their place. But right now, they're getting all they can get,
Is there enough, an addendum to that? Are there enough pro players, to play on both tours like that? Quality, pro players. Possibly. That's where
we're running into some issues, I think, right now.
Okay.
The depth is not quite there yet, and especially the women's pro, there's just not the strong numbers yet. So I've got a women's pro player close by that not liking what I'm saying there, but the numbers aren't there. I mean, they sometimes you'll have 40 men's teams in the pro division, and you'll have maybe 7 or 6 of the women's pro. And that's a little bit lopsided. And so we need to figure out, how to grow the professional realm so that the sponsors will want to be a part of pickleball. Also, this is just my personal view. I don't think it'll ever get to this, but in tennis, I think there's satellites and things like that. And then there's the ATP and the WTA. I think pickleball might have a chance to organize itself in a way where when you declare yourself as a professional, you just can't go play at the top tournaments. You'll need to qualify with enough points in a quote unquote satellite tournament throughout the year. And then when you build up enough points, you'll be able to qualify for some of the majors. So I think there might be room for something like that.
Interesting. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, that's a good point. That there's kind of a minor leagues or stepping area.
Kind of like in golf, they have this tour or that tour, and then boom, PGA and LPGA tours. Yeah.
Yep. They might have the Topo Chico tour. Yeah, we drink Topo Chico.
Oh, shout out to our sponsor. Speaking of sponsors, who we rolling with in the third set? Who's sponsoring this one?
That would be our buddy Blair Descaray. He does a lot of pickleball courts kind of in the area of North Texas, but I'm sure that he'd be happy to talk to anybody about the great game of pickleball and accessories, all sorts of things, items that are associated with pickleball. Talk to our good buddy Blair Descaray with Master
Systems Courts.
That's
right.
right.
I love that company.
All right, so we ready to go in the third set?
We are. Let's have some fun.
All
Golden
right.
Boy,
Ready?
let your hair down. Let's rock, man. This is going to be fun.
First band you saw in concert?
Oh, I'm going to blow your mind. I've never been to a live concert.
Really?
Wow.
No
I've
kidding.
never been.
Interesting. Well, okay. So if you could hear a band in concert, which band would it be? I'll follow up with that.
I would see AC/DC.
Oh, interesting. Really? ACD?
Yeah.
Boy, I hadn't thought about that one. I don't know if we've had. Have we had ACD?
I would love to see them live.
Everybody, I think Rick Eckloff once said, everybody likes AC/DC.
Even Nikki Kiggs?
Even Kiggs, mate. Yeah. You call yourself a journalist, mate. Piss off. Next question.
Who's your favorite band?
Philip Phillips.
Philip Phillips. Tell us about it. This is one I don't know.
Right. I was looking at you.
He won American Idol. And he also is an avid pickleball player.
Yeah.
He lives in Georgia, and great. Look him up. Look him up. He's awesome.
Philip Phillips. Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct.
You know, while we're on the subject of rock and roll and building a sport court or a pickleball court or a tennis court in your backyard, speaking of musicians who love pickleball, frontman for Pearl Jam, Eddie Vedder, his daughter takes lessons from a close friend of mine, tennis lessons, close friend of mine in Seattle, where pickleball was or near where pickleball was founded. Eddie fell completely in love, with tennis, but really with pickleball, and has built a court. Like he used to go to the club constantly. While his daughter's having an hour lesson, he got into pickleball. And then he's like, I'm just going to build one. And understandably, he's a bit of a celebrity, and people don't bug him too much, but he has a court at his house. So I want us to organize Philip Phillips and Edward Vedder to play a little singles one day.
Let's go. And also, Kid Rock built a court. He plays as well.
He's another one. I've heard this. Yeah.
Kid Rock?
Maybe they can jam after they can get a little hitting in and then jam a little.
Maybe we can get Richie C to come up with a pickleball song.
Yes.
We have a gentleman who really enjoys the podcast. He's been on a couple times. He has a song about tennis. Maybe we can get him to come up with a song about pickleball, and they'll sing.
He will. I can feed them my pickleball version lyrics to Wonderwall by Oasis, and Richie can lead sing that one too.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. What type of music do you really like to listen to? Is there anything that
so I grew up on country. My family, they listen to country growing up, so I always loved good country, but I also love rock and roll, man. I love jamming out to some rock and roll, and that's pretty much country and rock and roll I love to listen to the most.
Pardon me. All right, so this is always the big question I like to ask people. If you're in a band, and you might have been in a band, I don't know for sure, but if you're in a band, what position in the band are you going to be? You going to be the lead singer, like rhythm guitar? Would you be a bass player, piano?
Are we assuming that I can sing?
That's correct. Because
I cannot.
Then it must be hypothetical.
I mean, at church and in the shower, bring that voice to this.
I won't be selling very many tickets, guys, but no, if I was going to be in a band, I would definitely, my personality, I would be the lead singer. Nothing else. I would refuse to do anything else.
So we kind of knew that.
Yeah. So who is your front man that you would like to to perform like? Would it be somebody in the country and western world like a Tim McGraw, or would you be more like a Mick Jagger in the leather pants?
Or Bon Scott of AC/DC?
Yeah.
Bon Scott, baby, let's go. No, also the guy from Hootie and the Blowfish.
Darius Rucker, what a voice!
Darius Rucker. So he's kind of a combination of like
he's rock and country. Yeah.
So that'd be who I'd want to team up with right there.
That'd be your kind of ideal front man for the Golden Boy.
He's got
100%.
He's got a really great deep voice. That guy, Derek.
Yeah, a golden voice.
Golden throated singer. I love it.
First paid gig. What was your first paid gig? Were you a newspaper boy back there in Georgia, Alabama days?
My first paid gig was I was a I wouldn't want to call myself it wasn't a waiter. I worked at this little pizza place, and I would wash the dishes and clean up the tables. I guess I was a busboy. Yeah. I made I want to say it was like $5 an hour, $6 an hour. I don't know. It's something ridiculous.
Well, let's give a shout out to the place. Where is it? Like Pizza Palace, or?
I honestly don't even remember the name, but I remember the owner was like this short little Hispanic guy, and he was tough, man. He was tough. He wanted those dishes cleaned.
We're going to find out his name and email. We're going to email him a copy of this.
Right.
And he's going to be like, okay, he went from busboy to golden boy.
Right.
Yeah. Actually, me and my identical twin brother both worked there at the same time. We did the same exact thing.
You did.
It's funny.
Could he tell you all apart?
No, he had no chance. Yeah. No chance.
Because you guys are identical, right?
We're identical.
And you're righty lefty or both same?
Both righty. And my whole family plays pickleball. Chris, I'm a 5.3 leveled player, so I'm right there on the cusp of being, prorated, but not quite. And he would probably be like a 4.5 if he played enough.
So you got to know, like in school, did you all ever switch dates, and then, do that kind of thing, or, classes?
Only once.
Only
once.
We pranked somebody.
I never kissed his girlfriend or anything like that. Nothing that extreme. But we did switch classes a couple times. We one time we switched clothes. Like we went in the bathroom and switched our outfits, switched classes. Just like little pranks like that. Yeah. Nothing too crazy.
Is this really Scott? It might be his
clearly
brother.
Chris. Yeah, that's Chris.
That's probably true.
No. Let me tell you why it's not Chris.
Tell it.
We look identical, but have opposite personalities. He would never be caught dead on a interview like this or in front of a bunch of people.
He's more of a stoic, quiet guy, is he?
He is a one-on-one conversationalist. He does not like big crowds. He does not want to entertain anyone or have people asking him questions all the time.
So he's not being Darius Rucker on stage, is what you're saying?
No, he'd be the guy probably playing the drums or something like that.
What do you like to watch? You like movies, TV? Netflix guy? Do you binge watch?
You know what? I do like a good Netflix to binge. But I tell you what I really love, and I catch grief for this, but I love real life crime documentaries. Like I love watching like true crime, that type of stuff,
Interesting. You like the whodunits?
Yeah, I just do. It's always been fascinating to me. I have no desire to follow in their footsteps. I just like watching crime, like guys that pulled off major bank heists or, whatever, just anything like that.
So like Dateline, do you like to watch Dateline, on NBC?
I love the Dateline, stuff like that. I knew it. 60 Minutes, all that stuff.
Yeah, my wife watches Dateline all the time. And I've told AJ and everybody, like if my wife, is gone all of a sudden and I die, you might want to see where she is, because she has all these ideas. And I told her I'd been sick a couple of times. She was she was up in Utah and visiting her family. And I said, there's a reason why I got sick. And you had an alibi up in Utah. I was home by myself about to die, so, I same thing. So we better watch out for this guy.
Yeah. Watch out.
He's sneaky.
All that true crime, all all the Dateline, all that insider info.
Right.
I'm pretty savvy with it all.
Scott, in our neighborhood, there's a woman who's a bit like you and has watched every Dateline. And when my wife and I got back from a 3-hour boat ride, she was like, she's convinced that if a couple goes on a boat ride, one of them comes back, the other one's dead, right? So she's constantly impressed that we both return from these excursions. She's like, there's no way. You guys have been on like 4 boat rides and I don't know.
It's
crazy.
So true. Yeah. So true.
Because you're conditioned to think that something's wrong every time, right?
It's so accurate.
So here's a question then. If you like this, because this happened here in Dallas many years ago. Lee Harvey Oswald, lone shooter or conspiracy theory? Did he have multiple shooters with him?
We're talking about the JFK.
Yes.
I think you worked solo. That's just my opinion. But
solo, huh?
I think you went solo. That's just my opinion. I've watched all the stuff on it, but nobody can truly prove anything other than that.
Have you ever visited Dealey Plaza? Have you ever been down there?
I haven't, but I would love to.
We're going.
We're going to take you down there, going to the
we love this stuff.
Depository.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I mean, you'd love it because I'm into that.
In.
Okay, no, next time.
Yeah.
Well, we got a couple of barbecue places, and we'll go visit Dealey Plaza.
We're in.
I mean,
that sounds
awesome.
like a plan.
Quintessential Texas things to do is to speculate about the assassination of Kennedy.
So lone shooter, really?
Yeah.
See, I think there's.
That's just my gut feeling.
Okay. All right. Well, let you have
I mean, what did you guys?
You don't want to know what we think. We think there are multiple shooters, multiple motives, and multiple sources of. Am I right? You feel the same, yeah?
Oh yeah. No, I think,
we've definitely talked about.
Well,
that.
I just was listening to the Ticket the other day because they talk about this kind of stuff
they
too.
Do, yeah.
Gordon Keith's like that as well. One of the broadcasters on there, he loves this kind of stuff, and he was talking about. They said that how he couldn't be able. He didn't even pass one of his rifle tests. A couple of weeks before or something, and then for him to do the bolt action, it was really kind of fascinating. I was like, I hadn't thought about that.
I'm definitely inspired by Oliver Stone, but even more so the Keith Hernandez Seinfeld episode where the spit, the saliva turned, and then went back. so I was like,
with the hit,
I weirdly I saw the Seinfeld episode, then the JFK movie.
No, it's fascinating. So next time you're here, we'll definitely take you there because it's worth a trip. And
We're going, yes.
Because I've been up and seen that window, and I'm sitting there going, wow, that is a long way when you start looking. But it might be. Who knows?
Well, especially to curve the bullet and bank it off. Nothing. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's true. All right, I've changed my vote. You've persuaded me.
No, don't let us.
Somehow we did it, and we had fun doing it. Right. So thank you.
Breakfast, lunch, or dinner? What do you?
The easy breakfast. Breakfast all day.
Really?
I'll have breakfast for lunch, breakfast for dinner. I don't care.
So what's for breakfast?
Yeah, what do you cook or what do you go for?
Well, right now because I'm single, no kids. I'm pretty quick on the move. I used to get Dunkin' Donuts, coffee, and so something like that. But if I have time, eggs, bacon, sausage, stuff like that.
So are you a like glazed donut guy, or do you go like something exotic?
Oh, I'll definitely get the glazed donuts for sure.
Yeah. America runs on Dunkin' and the Golden Boy.
Yep.
Somehow he's so lean and fit, even though he has the sugary breakfast, right?
Oh, that's one of the things about me. I can eat whatever I want, and I don't gain a pound. I don't know what it is.
Crazy.
Now, how old are you?
37.
37.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's about the age. That's
is that when it starts happening?
I can look at food, and all of a sudden you gain 15 pounds.
Well, that's what they keep telling me. At 29, they said, wait till you're 35. When I turn 35, wait till you're 45. So we'll see. Who knows?
Well, you keep moving, man. You're such a quick guy on the pickleball court. That's incredible to see you.
All right, now, next question, talking about food. All right, you're going to have this soiree, what we call in Oklahoma, soiree, or you might call it a Barbie down under or a braai.
Soiree is such a French word. I'm so impressed that you Okies love that word.
We can say soiree.
I thought y'all would say shindig.
Your shindig, hee-haw, that kind of thing. So you're going to invite some people besides AJ and I. We know we're invited to.
We're going,
and we're going to have some donuts. We're going to have a lot of donuts at this party. Who else would you invite? Doesn't have to be pickleball people. It could be anybody. We've had some really fascinating guests at dinners with various guests that we've had. So who are you inviting?
Well, definitely my family. Mm-hmm. I want them there. Megan Hall, she would be invited. Do they have to be dead or alive? Do they have to be
either way? Inter-era, literary characters, biblical, whatever you want.
It could be Lee Harvey Oswald too. You could invite Lee Harvey.
I feel like this is persuasion. You're throwing things into my.
I think it may be coercion in his case.
I'm just
man, these are good questions. I would say definitely Michael Jordan. I'd want to have him there so I could pick his brain. I don't know. I could probably go on and on, but yeah, let's go with that. Family, you guys, Megan Hall, and Michael Jordan.
And what will you be serving at this soiree or shindig?
I think you can't go wrong with barbecue.
Yeah.
I mean, barbecue is like everybody loves barbecue.
Yeah.
So good, wholesome barbecue. Some soft rolls that you can put some butter on, and sweet tea.
I feel like Craig might, because you're from Alabama, that's not that far from the Carolinas and Georgia. Craig might be asking you about which style.
Yes. Are you beef or pork guy?
Oh, pork.
Pork. Okay.
So he's more southeast, east coast. Yeah.
Vinegar-based sauce, or are you a tomato-based sauce?
Wait, what was the first one?
Vinegar-based sauce, because it's more over on the East Coast. It's more of a
like Carolina
or Alabama.
Yeah, I would go with the Carolina, vinegar-based.
Okay.
Well, when you're here, we probably won't have that, so we'll go with the we'll go with the opposite.
Yeah, we
the
go
more Texas style,
the big beef rib. Yeah.
I think it might be a brontosaurus rib in some cases over here. Yeah, like Flintstone on the drive-in.
I just had barbecue last night.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Saturday night. Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah. No, one of my friends wanted to go out to dinner, and I said, let's go. Where are we going? This local place right here called Heart 8. That so it's a pretty good. I kid you not, there were probably 300 or 400 people in line at 7:30 last night. And fortunately, I knew kind of the back way. What you do is you go to the bar, and then you can order at the bar. There were three of us, and we went and sat down. It was great because everybody was looking at us because I went in there and go,
get in.
So we have some other barbecue spots around, but love barbecue. That's a great choice. But we'll get you indoctrinated on the Texas barbecue. All right?
Fair enough.
Good.
All right. East Coast, West Coast. You an East Coast guy, West Coast guy?
Definitely East Coast.
So,
I enjoy going out to the West Coast and then coming back.
Hey, while we're on East Coast and the fact that you're in Florida, but from Alabama, I know in Alabama it's like a country. And are you, when it comes to college sports, Auburn guy or more of an Alabama guy?
Roll Tide, baby.
You're Crimson Tide. I see. Yeah.
I thought you might be UAB. You were in Birmingham.
Yeah, Birmingham.
UAB brought football back. They're not doing too bad.
Yeah. So did you ever go to watch the UAB Blazers play?
I have seen them play. Yeah, I did see them play before they shut their program down and then came back.
Love it.
Yeah. Do you have a T-shirt that says Blazers on it?
I don't. I've never cared to have a Blazers T-shirt.
Mountains or beach? Mountains or beach?
Ooh, mountains.
Mountains. Okay, mountains in the summer, mountains in the winter, mountains in
winter. I mean, I get the beach here now in Florida, but yeah, if I'm going to go on a vacation, I want to go to the mountains.
Kind of like Colorado mountains, or or up in back east like the Appalachian.
I like North Carolina mountains.
Yeah.
Definitely Utah. Colorado, those would also be beautiful ones too. So
now, I have a feeling that I know what you're going to say right here. Sunrise or sunset?
I'm definitely a sunset. Yeah.
Oh, we went the opposite way because I heard.
Yeah, no, I'm not a morning guy.
He's going to be up.
Stay up late.
He's going to be up till 3 a.m. Yeah.
And go get his donuts. And then,
That's right.
If it were up to me, I wouldn't start my day before 11 a.m.
But you do have lessons at 8, right?
Correct. I have to be there at 7:45.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What's your favorite season? Are you a summer, winter, spring, fall?
I like the springtime the most. I think spring for me because, coming out of winter, I did live other places. My dad was military growing up, so I've lived kind of all over. And I think when you go through that period of time where winter is kind of dead, everything's not vibrant, and then that springtime is kind of rejuvenating and kind of refreshing. Sometimes you can just feel it in the air in the early spring, and it just kind of gives you hope. And that's kind of what I like about it.
Is there even winter down where you are right now?
No, I think it was 66 this morning when I got up, and I had to put like a jacket on.
I'm sure everybody else does. They probably go, "Oh my God, it's 55. It just get my big long winter jacket on, right?"
Oh yeah, they're spoiled down here. They won't even play below 60 for sure.
Really?
They're not playing pickleball if it's under 60.
They don't like we would just put sweatpants or warm ups on or whatever. They wouldn't do it.
They'll just wait till a better day.
Interesting.
So we just had a shout out from
JD from the Clash of Rackets, or Clash of Paddles in this case, right? Mm-hmm. And she says, "Hi guys, insightful conversation." She's going to look out for the sport here in London, so we're broadcasting all over the world here. And she says, "Shout out from across the pond, fellas." So thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, maybe we might have to take a reconnaissance trip over to London and kind of show the Brits how to play pickleball.
They're already playing touch tennis.
That's right.
Yeah, which is sort of a similar size court. And it's funny, Nick asked this the question: touch tennis and pickleball. Do you know much about touch tennis?
Have you ever heard of touch tennis?
I know that I've seen it on YouTube. I don't know much about it though.
Yeah. Similar size court to a pickleball court, but it looks like a tennis court, kind of on a smaller type basis, and they play with 21-inch rackets with strings. Yeah, with strings
and a foam ball.
Yeah.
So. I have seen it. Now I've also played padel.
Oh yeah, padel's really hip. Yeah, with the walls, with the plexiglass walls.
Mm-hmm. We have a place here in the Boca Raton area.
It's funny in Texas. In Texas, they pronounce it paddle. In France and Spain and Florida, evidently, they pronounce it padel.
The guy that owns the place, he's the one that built the court, but he calls it padel, so I just followed his lead.
I'm with you. Yeah,
he's very sophisticated down in Florida.
Definitely, Floridians.
He's with the high tone group down there, down in Florida.
We do it a little different here in Florida.
He rolled his L pretty well. Did you notice that? Padel.
Yeah, padel.
Right there. I like that. All right, favorite holiday. What's your favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Really, Christmas? Okay.
I love Christmas.
Do you like the cold Christmas, or do you like the warm Christmas like you probably experienced down in Florida?
If I had my choice, I'd say cold. Just because it's more, I don't know. I think it's just more fitting for the season. But I've gotten kind of used to the warm Christmas as well.
So the big question is favorite Christmas movie. I was about to say music, but
yes, that's a fun question.
Yeah, favorite Christmas.
All right, I'm going to give you a hint and see if you guys can figure it out. The Red Rider.
Oh, you'll shoot your eye out.
Yes,
I watched that.
Little Ralphie. Great hint, man.
Oh man, that's good.
Great hint.
Yeah,
let's go, boys. Let's go.
I've seen that movie about. Oh my God! Probably 200 times. I'll bet you.
So good. Yeah,
you could probably quote every
he really
line
could,
from that movie.
I love that movie. It's like Caddyshack also too.
Yeah.
I can watch those things over and over again.
Eminently quotable Christmas film.
Right, you'll shoot your eye out, Scott.
I wonder how much money that kid's made over the years, Ralphie, on the royalties.
A lot. They actually had that house. You can go up and visit that house. There's a guy who loved that movie so much. I kind of caught when I was sick.
Yeah.
I had nothing to do. I had COVID over the Christmas holiday. So
you had the 13 days of. He didn't just quarantine in his house. It was in his bedroom. Yeah. Like he didn't even go downstairs.
I was incarcerated for 13 days. I couldn't move. But I did check. I had my laptop with me, and there's a guy who loved that movie so much he bought the house, and you can go visit just like
where is it? Illinois.
Yeah.
I thought so.
No, it was really fascinating. I was like, oh my gosh, man, I'd love to do that trip. So we'll take the Golden Boy up there too. So
I used to live in Illinois, so that'd be a homecoming.
Homecoming for you. You'll have plenty of friends. Yeah.
What do you like to do in your spare time?
If I have a day where I'm just not doing anything, I like to sit at home, turn the lights off, and watch the true crime documentaries. Man, that's just it's like kind of a different alter world for me. It's just kind of in my own little bubble because I'm always so social. I'm always out doing something with people and interacting. So it's nice to do that sometimes.
Well, you mentioned you're single. When you are dating somebody, she is going to want to do that with you. I know that'll go well because I know a lot of women do love those. To watch with you.
I could see
100%.
Like Joe Friday, Dragnet. I could see Detective Golden.
Yeah. Just the facts.
Just a fact.
If pickleball doesn't work out, maybe I can go that route.
That's it, man.
Or it could be like the great Jack Lord. Book 'em, Dano. Did you ever watch Hawaii Five-0? Back in the
I didn't. I mean, I know what it is, but I did never watch it.
Oh, man, you got to watch it. That's a great one. I mean, the great Jack
He
Lord.
is half our age, so he's going to have to go TV One or one of the retro or stream it.
It's not like
YouTube's.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, that's
Oh,
on
yeah.
there. Yeah.
It's not like the new one because I can't watch that because I like Jack Lord and and James MacArthur, Dano. I mean, that's some classic stuff. I mean, it stands up okay. I mean, because I do like Honolulu. I mean, that's
what's not to love? Yeah.
that's a great place. All right, now we're going to the third part of the third set. So we're rounding the corner here. All right, I'm gonna pull it back to pickleball. All right, so I figured that the paddle of choice is Monarch. Is that correct? Do you have
Yes.
Do you have a paddle to show us? Is there one right next to you?
I do. Do you? Well, I can grab it real quick.
Yeah.
You want me to grab it?
Go, man! Hold it up. Yeah, we want to see that.
We want you
All right,
to
hang on.
Yeah, I want to see a Monarch Golden Axe.
Right.
Yeah. I want to hold one and I'd like to ask you a question.
He's
There
back.
we
Look
go.
at that.
The Monarch Golden
Yeah.
Axe. And it's an axe graphic.
I have to.
All right.
There it is.
There it
Go.
is.
Wow.
So I see the Monarch logo with the crown, and there it is, the Golden Axe.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So this is actually a custom paddle right here. So this one is my specific paddle that I play with, and it meets every one of my needs that I have for pickleball, and I love it. Absolutely love it. So.
Let me ask you this: when I go buy one at Dick's Sporting Goods, will it be the same specs that you use, or will it be lighter than yours?
I don't think I can answer.
Oh no!
I have a feeling if I go buy one, it'll be 7.5 ounces, and his is probably 9. Is that right?
Mine is 9.1.
9. Wow! I nailed it. I profiled him. I saw the guns. I was like,
That guy.
That was spot on.
Right. Well, he's not just another pretty face,
I see that.
I'm not even
AJ nailed it.
That's so funny.
Indoor or outdoor pickleball? You like indoor or outdoor?
Definitely outdoor, especially living in Florida. Gotta love it.
Oh, there we go. Is that Pickles? Is that Pickles?
Now it's Pickles right there.
Most embarrassing moment in pickleball? Did you have one? Did I have it like a funny story?
There's so many. I love to laugh at myself. One time I went to hit an Ernie. I was actually playing my girlfriend at the time. I was playing against her in a tournament, and we were playing on this smooth concrete. And I went to hit an Ernie, so I jumped the kitchen and I blasted the ball for a winner. And then my feet came out from under me, and I just fell right on my butt and ended up falling into the kitchen. And they accused me of being in the kitchen. It was very embarrassing, and I have it on video.
Oh.
Ouch.
That's pretty funny.
That's great.
You shouldn't do those kind of things.
Athletic move, and he ends up on his butt.
Yep. Favorite tournament? What's your favorite pickleball tournament, and why?
To this day, it would be the Indian Wells Tennis Garden Nationals. My first year, it was just electric, and they converted those courts, and you had all the stadium seating. It was just unbelievable.
And that's coming up, I think, in 3 weeks, 2 weeks?
December 6th through the 14th. I'm not actually going this year. I'm actually going to be at World Pickleball Open, which is in about an hour north of me.
Yep.
So
is that Delray Beach?
No, Delray's. It's a little north of Delray.
Okay. Yeah, that's another big. There's 2 tournaments going on. One on the East Coast, one on the West Coast, basically, right? And that's a big that's a big event as well. It's growing into a larger event than what was anticipated, I believe. Is that correct?
That is very, very accurate.
There's just people playing pickleball all over the place. I mean, because I think, don't you have to qualify to get to Indian Wells? I mean, you have to. You can't just show up.
Do.
You can't just drive in and go, "Hey, I'm here." It's like
correct. Yeah, you have to qualify. Definitely, there's a protocol.
Pickles is wanting to be on the show with us.
Yes, he is. He's excited.
Who's your favorite pickleball player besides you?
I would say male player would be Jay DeVilliers, the Flying Frenchman. I love the way he plays. He's just unbelievable. And then I can't help but on the female side, Annalie Waters. She's just so much fun to watch at 14. She's dominating the sport. So I'd say those two.
Yeah, that's a good choice. It's hard to believe that 14-year-old girl can, even a couple of years ago, she was here at the Texas Open. She was like 11 and 12. And I'm like, how is she doing that? I mean, she just has a supernatural talent.
Oh, God gave her talents that other people just dream of.
Any superstitions or rituals that you employ out there on the pickleball court, or have you seen any funny things maybe during broadcast?
No, I don't have too much superstition. I do notice that some of the pro players have some quirky things that they do. I know Leah Jansen now, she's doing this unique thing that she
does
crosses over.
She does something with her, like taps her different parts of the body.
Yes. Yeah. And it has to do with engaging both sides of her brain or something like that. Yeah.
So unlike Novak, you like to do the crowd after you win the match. Is that, you give your heart to the crowd? Is that correct?
Craig, both on the court as well as off the court, I'm very enthusiastic about all 10 of my fans. And there's there may be, you never know which corner they're in, so I go like this for all the corners.
Yeah,
right?
I bet you Scott would be one of your fans, wouldn't he?
For sure, Golden Boy. For sure, I'd be honored to have him as a fan. Yeah.
I love it.
So if you wouldn't have been playing pickleball, what sport would you be playing probably, you think?
Football.
Football? Really?
I was a good football player.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say defensive lineman or maybe offensive
lineman. I bet
he's a running back.
He's
running
a quick, thin guy.
You'd be surprised. I started at strong side linebacker at a 6A school in Illinois and also in Alabama. So I was tough, man. I was tough. They called me the Golden Torpedo.
I love it.
Wow, everything with golden in it. You've got it down, right? So did your brother play football too?
He did. He was injury prone though. He broke his ankle one time and broke his something else another time. I think it was his wrist or something. He was always injured.
So would you have liked to, have played, like at Alabama, possibly for Coach Nick?
I think my frame that God gave me was a little too small for college football. I think I would have probably ended up busted up too much. But yeah, I mean, let's say if I had the size, definitely had the heart and the tenacity. So I think, I think so.
All right, last two questions, then we're going to let you go. So we've already taken about an hour and 45 minutes of your time here. All right, if you wouldn't have been involved in sports like pickleball, what would you be doing right now?
Oh, that's a good question. I'd probably be a runner. Is that a sport? Running is a sport. Never mind. That's not.
Of course, track and field, baby.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah. I mean, I think I would be like a trail runner or like a mountain biking type person or something like that. I'd still be active.
Or maybe even from a business standpoint, would you be?
Good question.
Yeah. Even on that line also too, because I want to see what maybe you have a science background or maybe a.
I owned a landscape company for about 15 years, so before pickleball. So
you wouldn't have been a busboy, not a busboy, right, at a restaurant.
No, not a busboy.
You graduated from that, huh?
I was tired of that job after 2 weeks.
You had a landscaping business in Alabama, is that correct? Did you say?
For a long time.
For a long time, right. And were your clients kind of disappointed when you moved to Florida?
I'd already kind of started to get out of it by then.
And so they just said, okay, that's there goes the Golden Boy. Or you could have given it to your brother, maybe. I mean, he could have picked up the business, right? They wouldn't have known.
He did, yeah. He still did it for quite a while after that. So
do you have Golden Boy Landscaping, or what was the name of the?
It was Golden Scapes. Yeah.
Golden Scapes. There you go.
Scapes. I love it. Well done.
I like it. All right, last question. Here it is. All right, we always like to ask this kind of question to people that we have that they're in sports. So if you could wave the magic wand of pickleball, you could be the commissioner, you could be the main guy. Would you change anything, or do you like the way it is? Are there aspects of the game that maybe you see that need to be tweaked, or hey, I like the way it is, and the scoring system because it kills a lot of people around here from when we're starting to talk. with our members about, trying to play pickleball. I give them the assumed knowledge speech. And when I start out, when we do a little mixer, I say, look, you can play it any way you want to, but here's the assumed knowledge. There's about 6 quirky rules. In scoring, it just bogs people down. And I know you said you didn't, teach that right off the bat. But so is there anything that you would change, or you like it the way it is?
That's a great question. I like it the way it is. I think maybe rally scoring for singles.
There we go.
Maybe that might be something I would change. And I think that might get changed eventually.
You think so? Okay.
I think it's going to be hard for doubles, but
Rally scoring as opposed to the side out kind of a thing. Is that what you mean?
yes.
Yeah.
I think it's more exciting for the fans watching when there's a point scored every time the ball's in play.
Right.
Especially in singles, and it's easier to track that. In doubles, it's a little trickier. I don't think it's as simple as just changing it.
Yeah. Now, are there any other rules? Do you think that the drop serve, has that been well received this year? I know that was one of the rules, that you can drop the serve, it can bounce and you can hit it. Do you see people using that, or not really?
At the amateur level, yes. You don't really see it at the pro level that much. Occasionally, Kyle Yates will drop it and do that. No, I think that's good. I think it's just some of those little things. I think if I sat and thought about things more, I could probably give you guys like more depth on that. But I like the sport the way it is. I think the unique name, the kitchen, the underhand serve, all of those things are what create, I think, a special dynamic for people.
No, I like the sport the way it is. I mean, it took me a while to figure it out. And I was one of those people that's like, boy, this is totally different than what I'm used to, because I was used to crushing the net and just getting in on top of it. We're here, really kind of at the net right there. There we go. And we want to get close in tennis, but in pickleball, I think that's the greatest equalizer in the game, is that 7-foot no volley zone on either side. That really, plays a huge role in the game of pickleball.
100%. Yeah. Makes it very unique.
Yeah. No, I like your answer. Have you heard any rules that are maybe thought about being adjusted?
Yeah. What's afoot? What's happening? Because it was about a year ago we had Byron Frezzo, Lord Byron, from the USAPA, and he was detailing the drop serve from kind of this height versus the hit it below the navel straight out of your hand, meaning not bouncing. And that was a year ago. I'm glad you asked about that. Yeah. But tell us what's afoot for maybe next year, if there are any changes.
So they just voted on some of the potential rule changes. Everything pretty much stayed. They did vote on the drop serve. They voted for that to stay.
I see.
So that's going to be around permanently. The only thing that I know that stands out that changed is they had the chainsaw serve this year. Zane Navratil kind of made it popular.
Tell us about it. Can you demo the chainsaw serve?
So the chainsaw serve is where you're using the paddle face to create spin. So you're going to create a lot of spin off of it like that, and then you're going to hit flat through it. And when it hits the ground, it's going to kick left or right based on how you spin it. But so the new rule starting in January is you can only if you cut off your wrist right here on your left hand or your right hand, it's your non-dominant hand, non-paddle hand, you can spin it with just that. So whatever you can do with that is legal.
With the toss hand, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But you can no longer use any type of aid, not the paddle handle, not the paddle, nothing like that.
Interesting. Yeah, right here you heard it right now.
Excellent.
First
exclusive
and foremost, exclusive on At the Net. So, well, Scott, it's been great. We don't want to take any more of your time because we know it's late. You're a night owl, but I'm sure you have to get up in the morning, go hit some pickleball at the club, and get the day going. So. But,
for sure. No, I've enjoyed it, guys. Thank you so much for your time. And I know it's been a long time coming, so it's great to get on the podcast.
So happy we had you on, buddy. Thank you so much, Golden Boy. It was really fun getting to know you in the three-game format. And we will see you soon, man.
Yeah, please.
You got it, guys.
And let us know when you're in Dallas. Even if you're flying through, it'd be fun just to
we'll
catch up with you for a couple of minutes. We know where the airport is. We've been there.
We've been there a few times.
And if you've got a little bit of a layover, we can show you around.
we'll go have some barbecue.
You're on. You're on.
And then
All right, guys.
Go down to Dealey Plaza because we want you to see that.
Yeah, we want it. Yeah,
we want to see that expert crime dog Detective Golden on there right there. All right. So,
excellent.
Love it.
CB.
All right.
Excellent.
All right, guys.
All right.
Have a great night.
All right, you too, Scott. Thanks a lot. Appreciate
Good night,
it, buddy.
Salute. Thank you. CB, what a great guest this guy was.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah,
well
Scott,
done. You asked the fun questions. That was really cool.
Well,
well done.
We've done this a few times, and I think it's kind of fun to, Scott has such a nice personality, and he's engaging, and that's why you see him on television and actually on live streams a lot.
He is live. He's lit. He's funny.
Oh, yeah. So it was a lot of fun. So let's get a little Jamie Campbell, right? Jamie Campbell?
Jim
Campbell. Here we go. Out of Georgia, right? He's out
That's
of
right.
Georgia. He's kind of close to Florida. So. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to Season 1, Episode 102. 102, AJ. That's pretty good, wasn't it?
I'm impressed.
About the Net Podcast. Join us possibly in 3 weeks. We might be off the next couple of weeks for Thanksgiving.
Yep.
And then we'll be talking with Mark Wylam.
Wylam from the Wales, right? Or Ireland, Northern Ireland. That's right, yes.
Of Sports Pros Connects. It's a job placement service that Mark does. I was about to say Mark does
Wylam,
for tennis professionals all over the world. So it's going to be an interesting podcast. And actually, we're going to start a little earlier time frame because he's about 8 hours ahead of us. So we're going to be starting at 3 p.m.
Yep.
Locally,
which is more like 9 p.m. his time, not too shabby.
Right. We don't.
And then, gosh, the speaking of the UK, our guest the week after that is Matt Hanlon, who originally from the UK, played at the University of Washington in Seattle, and his godson, will have him on the show too. That's Zachary Svida, top 200 in the world, and has gone a few rounds of the U.S. Open. This guy's good.
A couple rounds, yeah.
And he's only 18.
He's only 18. He's pretty good.
Crazy.
Yeah. So also check us out on our Instagram page. We do a little thing called Tennis Shorts, right, AJ?
You know it. Tennis Shorts. We get to find out every Wednesday night what's in Craig Bell's tennis shorts.
Big fat zero.
2 legs, 2 pockets, 2 stories, 2 questions, and there's plenty to talk about. I mean, we'll be back to tennis soon.
Yeah.
So Wednesday nights we'll keep rolling. We may have a Thanksgiving Wednesday off, but we'll be talking about Davis Cup, Billie Jean King Cup, WTA Finals in Guadalajara, Torino, the men's year-end championships, Milano, the under 21s, the next gen final. So we'll talk about all those things. We'll see you Wednesday night.
Yep. So, and lastly, be sure to like us on YouTube, also Facebook. We're coming out. We're trying to figure out how we're going to do this ATN podcast page, but we'll be back on Facebook also too. And also be sure to tell a friend of friends. They can be net heads, and because we like your people.
We like your people. Hit the share, hit the like.
Right. Well, everybody, that's the pickleball news as it seems
to us.
Good night, everybody from Dallas, Texas.